Have you ever stopped to wonder if traveling after the age of 70 is still a blessing or a hidden trap waiting to unfold? For decades, travel has been painted as the ultimate reward, the golden prize after years of hard work. But what if I told you that the same journey you dreamed of could turn into the most exhausting, dangerous, and costly mistake of your life? Imagine stepping on a plane filled with strangers, your body no longer as strong as it once was, your immune system less resilient, your reflexes slower. What once felt like freedom could suddenly feel like a gamble with your health, your finances, and your peace of mind. The truth is, travel after 70 carries invisible risks that most people never think about until it is too late. And that is why today, we are going to uncover the realities hidden beneath the postcard pictures and glossy advertisements. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may see travel in your later years in a way you never imagined. Before we dive in, please subscribe to this channel so we can continue creating powerful stories and insights to guide and protect you. Now let me ask you a question. If you were 70, would you choose A, take the long trip you always dreamed of, or B, stay closer to home for safety? Comment below with A or B. I'd love to know your thoughts. When it comes to traveling after 70, the greatest concern is no longer the long lines at airports or the weight of your luggage. It is the unpredictability of your health. At this stage of life, even the smallest imbalance can grow into a crisis. What used to feel like a simple headache or shortness of breath may now carry consequences far more serious. A trip designed for relaxation can turn into a race against time if your body decides to fail you far from home. Imagine being thousands of miles away in a country where you do not speak the language. A sudden spike in blood pressure or chest pain begins, and you realize how far you are from your trusted doctor. At home, you would call an ambulance and be in a hospital within minutes. Abroad, you may face hours of waiting, confusing paperwork, and medical systems you know nothing about. Every second of delay increases the risk. What began as a holiday can spiral into an ordeal you never anticipated. One of the hidden dangers is the way age amplifies ordinary travel stresses. Long flights increase the likelihood of blood clots, also called deep vein thrombosis. High altitudes that younger travelers shrug off can overwhelm an older heart or lungs. Even heat, dehydration, or exhaustion can strike harder, leading to collapses that demand urgent care. And while locals might adapt to their own climate or water supply, your body may react violently to changes in food or hygiene. The financial weight of medical emergencies cannot be ignored either. Many seniors assume their regular health insurance covers them wherever they go, only to learn often in the worst possible moment that it does not extend beyond their home country. Emergency surgery, hospitalization, or medical evacuation by air can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Without proper travel insurance, savings built over a lifetime can vanish in days. Some older travelers have returned home not only weakened by illness, but also burdened with crushing debt. Consider Eleanor, a 72-year-old who adored hiking. Confident in her health, she joined a tour to South America. Within days, she was gasping for air at high altitude, her body struggling against the thin atmosphere. What began as mild discomfort quickly became a medical emergency, requiring evacuation. The dream she had cherished turned into a terrifying and expensive nightmare. Her story shows how easily optimism can blind us to risks that demand respect. The good news is that preparation can reduce these dangers. The first step is always an honest conversation with your doctor. Share your travel plans and detailed destination, climate, altitude, flight times. Ask about risks tied to your conditions. Ensure you carry enough medication for the entire trip, plus extra in case of delays. Do not rely on pharmacies abroad to stock the exact prescription you need. Researching the healthcare system at your destination is equally important. Know where the nearest hospital is, how emergency services operate, and whether your destination has modern facilities or limited care. And most of all, never travel abroad without comprehensive travel insurance. It should cover hospital stays, medication, and medical evacuation. It may feel like an added cost, but in truth, it is the one safeguard that separates a manageable crisis from a financial disaster. Travel can still be deeply rewarding after 70, but it cannot be approached with the carefree attitude of youth. At this age, health must come first, planning must be precise, and risks must be acknowledged. With careful preparation, you can still discover the beauty of the world, but on terms that protect your body, your finances, and your peace of mind. After health emergencies, another danger of traveling after 70 reveals itself in quieter but equally damaging ways: exposure to infections and the heavy toll of fatigue. These risks rarely make headlines, yet they silently undermine the well-being of older travelers and often determine whether a journey ends in cherished memories or weeks of recovery. Airports, airplanes, and tourist sites are breeding grounds for germs. Thousands of people pass through the same security lines, sit in the same seats, touch the same tray tables. For a younger traveler, contact with an unfamiliar virus may result in little more than a cold. For someone over 70, however, that same encounter can trigger pneumonia, severe dehydration, or long-term complications. The natural weakening of the immune system makes it harder to bounce back, and an infection that would pass in days for others can linger for weeks. Imagine arriving at your dream destination only to spend most of your trip bedridden, fighting a fever you picked up on the plane. Food and water safety add another layer of risk. Many seniors look forward to trying new cuisines, but unfamiliar spices, cooking methods, and water supplies can upset digestion. Local residents may have built immunity to bacteria in their environment, but a visitor's system is defenseless. Something as ordinary as a salad washed in local tap water can cause days of illness. And unlike at home, where treatment is convenient, recovering abroad often means navigating pharmacies in a foreign language without guarantees of finding the right medication. Then there is the burden of fatigue. Travel looks simple on an itinerary: flights, check-ins, tours, but the reality is far harsher for an aging body. Long hours in cramped airplane seats stiffen joints and reduce circulation. Lifting luggage and walking through massive airports demand more energy than many expect. Time zone changes disrupt circadian rhythms, and sleeping in an unfamiliar bed makes true rest elusive. In younger years, a single night's sleep could restore energy. After 70, exhaustion lingers, weakening both the body and the mind. Consider Richard, who at 75 was excited to finally explore Asia. After a long-haul flight and a 6-hour time difference, he found himself drained before the trip had even begun. Tours he had once imagined as leisurely walks became struggles to stay upright. His energy never returned, and by the time he adjusted, it was time to fly home. What should have been a once-in-a-lifetime experience became a reminder that the body's recovery pace is no longer what it used to be. Fatigue also magnifies other risks. A tired body is less coordinated, making falls more likely. A sleep-deprived mind loses sharpness, increasing vulnerability to scams or simple mistakes. Dehydration, often overlooked during travel, worsens fatigue and can cause dizziness and confusion. Together, these factors create a dangerous spiral. Exhaustion weakens immunity, infection takes hold, recovery slows, and the joy of travel disappears. Yet, with thoughtful planning, seniors can protect themselves. Building rest into the schedule is not indulgence, it is survival. Trips should include slower days, time for naps, and realistic limits on how much can be seen in a single outing. Choosing shorter flights or breaking long journeys into segments reduces strain. Staying hydrated, carrying light, nutritious snacks, and avoiding overindulgence in unfamiliar foods can help maintain energy. Even small adjustments, such as requesting quiet hotel rooms or packing supportive pillows, can improve sleep quality and speed recovery. Travel after 70 does not have to be defined by illness or exhaustion, but it requires a different approach, one that respects the body's limits and acknowledges that energy is a finite resource. Those who prepare thoughtfully can still enjoy the beauty of discovery without paying the price of weeks lost to recovery. The lesson is simple. At this stage of life, true adventure lies not in how far you go or how much you see, but in returning home with health, strength, and joy intact. One of the most overlooked dangers of traveling after 70 is the increased risk of falls and injuries. At this age, the body's balance is not as steady, reflexes are slower, and bones are more fragile. A stumble that might have been a minor inconvenience years ago can now mean a broken hip, a long hospital stay, or even a permanent loss of independence. While many older adults pride themselves on staying active and mobile at home, the environments encountered during travel are very different from familiar routines. Airports, hotels, cruise ships, and historic cities are full of hidden hazards that can quickly turn a vacation into a painful ordeal. Consider the uneven cobblestone streets of a European town, charming to look at but treacherous underfoot. Add the weight of luggage, the pressure to keep up with tour groups, and the fatigue that accumulates after days of sightseeing, and the chance of missteps grows. Lighting is often poor in alleys or staircases, railings are missing, and surfaces can be slick with rain. For someone over 70, just one miscalculated step can lead to serious consequences. Unlike at home, where emergency services may arrive quickly, treatment abroad may be delayed, limited, or difficult to access. What could have been stabilized quickly in a familiar environment can spiral into weeks or months of recovery. Linda's story illustrates this vividly. At 78, she had always loved walking in her neighborhood without problems. Encouraged by her good health, she planned a long-awaited trip to Italy. But within days, she found herself struggling with the steep, uneven streets. One evening, as she stepped off a curb in dim light, she lost her footing and fell, breaking her hip. Her trip ended not in museums or cafes, but in a hospital bed, facing surgery in a foreign language, and a lengthy rehabilitation once she returned home. The dream became regret, and the independence she valued was shaken forever. The risk of injury is not limited to dramatic falls. Joint pain, arthritis, and reduced muscle strength make even ordinary travel tasks more difficult. Long walks through airports, hours of standing in lines, or simply climbing the steps of a tour bus can cause swelling and fatigue. These small strains build up until balance is compromised, coordination falters, and the chance of falling rises sharply. A body already tired from travel is less able to react quickly, and a stumble that could once be caught with a quick step may now lead to a hard landing. The psychological impact of such accidents is equally damaging. For many seniors, independence is the most cherished gift. A serious injury abroad does not just bring pain, it can also bring fear. Once confidence in walking is shaken, even daily activities at home may feel uncertain. The memory of falling in a distant place lingers, influencing future choices and sometimes discouraging travel altogether. Yet awareness and preparation can reduce these risks significantly. Seniors who plan carefully can protect themselves without giving up the joy of exploration. Choosing destinations with good accessibility, smooth walkways, and modern infrastructure makes a difference. Selecting accommodations with elevators, handrails, and well-lit hallways adds another layer of safety. Supportive footwear designed for stability should be considered as essential as a passport. Walking sticks or canes are not a sign of weakness, but tools of empowerment, allowing balance and confidence in unfamiliar terrain. Rest is equally important. Exhaustion slows reaction times, and rushing through crowded streets only increases the chance of accidents. Building breaks into daily itineraries, avoiding evening walks in poorly lit areas, and being realistic about how much ground can be covered in a single day are all forms of wisdom, not limitation. A trip should never be measured by how fast or how far you can move, but by the memories you create without harming your body. Travel after 70 can still be fulfilling, but it demands humility and the recognition that the body is not invincible and that prevention is worth far more than recovery. Every step taken with caution, every choice made with safety in mind, is a way of honoring both your health and your independence. Because no vacation, no matter how beautiful the view, is worth sacrificing the ability to walk freely when you return home. Beyond the physical dangers of illness, exhaustion, or falls, there is another risk that quietly shadows every journey after 70, the financial burden of unexpected problems. Travel at this age is not only a test of the body but also a test of careful planning. And when things go wrong, the consequences are often measured not just in health but in money. Seniors who have spent decades saving for retirement sometimes discover that one poorly prepared trip can unravel years of hard work, leaving them with stress that lingers long after the suitcases are unpacked. Medical emergencies abroad are among the most devastating financial shocks. Many older travelers assume their regular health insurance will protect them wherever they go, only to face the harsh reality that most policies stop at the border. A sudden hospitalization, a round of surgery, or an air evacuation to a larger hospital can cost tens of thousands of dollars. Families who thought they had planned a modest holiday may find themselves forced to drain savings, sell assets, or take on debt simply to bring their loved one home safely. What could have been a manageable incident at home turns into a crushing financial blow simply because the trip crossed national lines. The costs are not limited to health. Trip cancellations and delays also carry heavy weight. Seniors often book their travels far in advance, looking forward to the reward of time well spent. But health is unpredictable after 70, and an illness, an injury, or even a new prescription can make travel suddenly impossible. Airlines, cruise companies, and hotels are rarely sympathetic in such cases. Strict cancellation policies mean thousands of dollars can be lost in a moment. Without trip cancellation insurance, these funds vanish, leaving travelers with nothing but frustration and regret. Then there is the darker threat of fraud and exploitation. Scammers around the world recognize the vulnerability of older travelers, those less familiar with digital systems, less confident in foreign languages, and often more trusting of strangers. Fake taxi drivers charge triple for simple rides. Counterfeit tour guides promise experiences that never happen. Online booking sites advertise hotels that do not exist. Credit card skimming devices appear in unexpected places, draining accounts before the victim even realizes what has happened. For seniors who value security, the shock of being targeted for deception can be as damaging emotionally as it is financially. George's story is a sobering reminder. At 76, he booked what he believed was a dream vacation to a tropical island. Every detail seemed legitimate: glossy photos, professional emails, an easy payment process. But when he arrived, the hotel was nothing more than an empty building, and his savings were gone. With nowhere to stay, he scrambled to find new lodging, paying double his budget just for a bed. The financial loss was painful, but the betrayal cut even deeper. For him, what should have been a relaxing escape turned into an experience he would rather forget. Yet these risks do not mean travel must end. They mean that travel requires new forms of wisdom. Seniors must recognize that insurance is not optional. It is the backbone of safe exploration. Comprehensive coverage should include medical care, evacuation, and trip cancellations. Every booking should be made through reputable companies with reviews and verifications, never through a deal that feels too good to be true. Money should be protected as carefully as health. Avoid carrying large sums of cash, guard credit cards closely, and never hand personal details to strangers. The reality is that financial security is just as important as physical safety. A broken bone can heal, but the loss of savings can affect independence, lifestyle, and peace of mind for years. Travel should be about joy, not about returning home to unpaid bills and sleepless nights. For those over 70, every trip must be weighed carefully. Destination, insurance, accommodations, and budget all matter more than ever. The world still holds beauty, but only those who protect themselves can truly enjoy it. At this stage in life, the purpose of travel is not to prove how far you can go, but to ensure you return home with your health, your independence, and your finances intact. With careful preparation, the journey can still bring memories that enrich life rather than costs that diminish it.